confirmed complete. We also have the visors are confirmed up. Now past the dynamic phase of flight, that is ascent. Their launch and entry suits that provided them an extra layer of protection. Now not as needed. They're going to raise those visors. And later in today's mission, they will begin to egress or get out of the suits to begin some of their initial tasks of activating some of the systems aboard in the Integrity spacecraft. It's passing 12 minutes of mission elapsed time. Again, the perigee raise maneuver that's targeted near 50 minutes of mission elapsed time, 49 minutes, 50 seconds. That's what the crew is going to be working towards. The Commander Reid Wiseman pilot Victor Glover will focus on preparing for that milestone. In the meantime, mission specialist Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen will start some of the activation of environmental control life support systems. You may hear confirmation of their activation over the Orion to Earth communication network.
Houston, C3 aux power back in auto.
Copy C3 aux, and we're 2 minutes to maneuver.
"13 minutes and 30 seconds of mission elapsed time. We're going to continue. 13 minutes and 30 seconds of mission elapsed time. We're going to continue to follow the crew of the Artemis II mission. They are beginning their journey around the moon to verify the systems that will take us to its surface. An incredible ascent. Artemis II is underway. Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey to the moon. Still milestones to come up as we await solar array journey to the moon. Still milestones to come up as we await solar array deploy and the critical burns that will get Integrity into high Earth orbit around the Earth before engines are fired to get us around the moon. We'll keep tabs on Integrity and its crew from here in Mission Control Houston. But for now, we're going to send it back to you, Megan and Nicole at the Kennedy Space Center. Very jealous to hear how the launch experience was over on the Space Coast.
Yeah, Gary, if people are just joining us, welcome back to the Space Coast, where we just saw Artemis II lift off 14 minutes ago. Space Coast, where we just saw Artemis II lift off 14 minutes ago. And wow, what an amazing launch, and an emotional one, too, as soon as the rocket lifted off. Nicole, you had tears in your eyes, I had tears in my eyes, and we had all these people around us cheering. It was amazing.
Yeah, the energy was wonderful. I mean, it was a beautiful launch. You know, we've got 4 friends and family members headed to the moon. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah. How does that make you feel as someone who, you know, is an astronaut as well, but also, as you said, friends?
Yeah, so proud of them. You know, man, we don't have the words in the English language to describe this kind of an event, and pride, love, so many emotions. You know, they are truly breaking some barriers, and hopefully, you know, as Gary just said, they've got a long day ahead of them, so wishing them well on everything. But so far, what a beautiful launch to watch. Yeah, to be returning to the lunar orbit in more than 50 years. Maybe they go farther from Earth than any other humans before them. Maybe they see parts of the moon that we've never seen before. I mean, what a great start to what could be all of these milestones that we break in just a 10-day mission. Yes, what a way to welcome in the Artemis generation. Yeah, how do you feel? I mean, we saw some beautiful shots we were covering of course, the rocket, of course, the Earth falling away as we continued up into our ascents, but also some of those crowd shots where we saw young and old, just emotional, overcome by this history-making moment. Man, we are going back to the moon for all, and we saw that today. We saw that in all the crowds. And yeah, you guys just saw that view, the sunrise or sunset, I guess. They just made it over the crest of the Earth, and you could see the sun peeking over. One of my favorite views from space. And I can't imagine what they're looking at now, and I can't wait to see what they're looking at in about 5 or 6 days. Yeah, and you know, I know a lot of people are like, you know what, I'm
surprised this launched on the first try, because we know, like any little thing, we have to be keeping safety in mind, and we want to make sure we're ready to go. But we were ready to go, and I think it surprised a lot of people. What a wonderful surprise on this Wednesday evening.
It did, you know, and it kind of surprised me as well. But, you know, it's just a testament to the team here that has been working so hard on Artemis. You know, Artemis 1, we learned a ton of lessons. We learned a ton from the wet dress for Artemis 2. We were able to go in, fix those things. We even had a couple mishaps today, not mishaps, but a couple, you know, anomalies today that the team creatively came up with solutions for. It's just a testament to the teamwork that gets us to the moon.
And so we can continue to watch Christina, Reid, Victor, and Jeremy on their way now to the moon in Earth's orbit and awaiting the next in-flight milestones, deploying Orion's solar arrays. So why don't we get back in with the mission control and Gary.
Hey, thank you, Megan. Again, we're following along on the action. It is a long day. They have a number of procedures they need to get to immediately in their timeline.
And Integrity Houston, cross-tie is on board per the ETSI-DEM.
We copy, Houston. Thank you.
Cross-tie referring to flight controllers here initiating a connection between some of the batteries aboard the Orion spacecraft, allowing for an even distribution of power. This is the flight control teams that took us through ascent of the Artemis II mission today. Right now we're, as you see, passing 18 minutes of mission elapsed time. The Orion spacecraft integrity and the interim cryogenic propulsion system are maneuvering tail to sun. It is in this orientation, this attitude.
Integrity anywhere until that momentary prop caution.
And Reid, no action. We're looking at it.
Commander Reid Wiseman verifying what is being routed to his displays aboard Integrity. Propulsion engineer confirming that no action is needed at this time. They're pressing through with their nominal procedures to prepare for the perigee raise maneuver. And of course, the solar array wing deploy ahead of that. The solar wing deploy is a critical milestone. We'll continue to have our coverage follow the mission until that deployment. A successful launch is just the beginning. The deployment of the solar arrays and successful confirmation that those solar array wings are drawing power is a significant milestone, and says to the flight control teams that we will continue on today's mission. Power needs to be drawn to continue through some of the next milestones. Until then, the AOA open option that was called up upon ascent, the aboard once around, is the current option, and abort to orbit option ATO will be switched to a preferred mode at the time that the solar array wings are deployed and latched. It gives the flight control teams a little bit more flexibility.
Integrity Houston, update on TDRS handover for your pad.
Give us just 1 minute. And Stan, you can read it. Ike is ready to copy.
Roger. TDRS handover east to west expected 1 second earlier at 5:1 minutes 26 seconds.
All right, Stan, we copy 1 second earlier for 5126 TDRS east to west, and saws are starting to deploy. Thermal knives are firing.
We concur. Thanks for the report.
Read back of the reports that you just heard on the Orion to Earth network. Integrity has maneuvered tail to sun. The RL-10 nozzle on the end of the ICPS is pointed towards the sun, and the solar array deployment sequence has begun. With the deployment confirmed, It'll be several minutes until they are what is called in a latched position. Once they are latched and confirmed to be drawing power, they can switch the mode to ATO and continue along the mission. The teacher's handover at the pad, that message meant the crew was provided some preliminary numbers of when to expect handovers between the tracking and data relay satellites. Currently orbiting Earth at an altitude of 545 statute miles above the Earth, they are in a near-Earth network communication system. The tracking and data relay satellites, geosynchronous satellites that are stationed about 23,000 miles above the Earth. After the apogee rays burn, that occurs later today, the burn itself will put them in an altitude that surpasses the range of the tracking and data relay satellites, and they will transition to the deep space network today.
And integrity for prop messages, we see 2 temperature measurements right near the line. It's that momentary message you saw earlier. We're going to suppress those. It's CM helium heater 2 T1 and heater 1 T1. They're going suppressed.
Integrity, thank you. We see the same.
This is Mission Control Houston, passing 23 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. This is after a launch that began at 5:35 and 12 seconds Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Right now, the orientation you're seeing from our aero visualization that translates some of the telemetry that we're getting from the spacecraft and puts it into a model so you can follow along on some of the milestones that we are following here. The RL-10 nozzle that you see at the left end of your screen, though it is currently not firing, that nozzle is pointed towards the sun, and the solar arrays are currently deploying. From this visualization, they look fully stowed in a position.
Integrity, we are happy to report that Jeremy has the O2 sensors on.
Copy O2 sensors.
Again, Commander Reid Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover overseeing the deployment of the solar arrays. And we'll follow the attitude maneuver changes ahead of the first burn of the ICPS engine, the perigee raise maneuver.
Integrity Houston, we see 4 saws deployed and latched, ready for ATO preferred.
Yeah, we're almost there in the procedure stand, and we see the same thing.
And Integrity Houston, we are seeing a 7-second miscompare between the MET on Orion and ICPS. We'd like you to read us the MET from your center status bar and for the ICPS on StackSum.
And Stan, we see a absolutely precise alignment. MET 25, 14, 15, 16, precisely aligned with ICPS MET.
Copy, thank you for that. We'll investigate a ground issue.
And Houston Integrity, ATO preferred set.
Copy, ATO preferred.
This is Mission Control Houston, 25 minutes, 45 seconds into the flight of Artemis II. We have confirmation that all 4 solar array wings are deployed and latched. This is the configuration needed to switch to ATO preferred, which you did hear confirmed from pilot Victor Glover. That mode has been switched. There was also a discussion with Capcom Stan Love and Commander Reid Wiseman about the alignment of the MET clocks on the Orion spacecraft and the ICPS. Commander Reid Wiseman confirmed the clocks are in sync, no issues, they're going to investigate it on the ground. We're proceeding with today's mission. 26 minutes of mission elapsed time and counting. This is Mission Control Houston. We're approaching 28 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. At this point, we've had a successful liftoff from the pad at 5:35 p.m. and 12 seconds p.m. Central Time, 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. We've had a good main engine cutoff, core stage separation, and a good trajectory to begin today's mission. Right now, the spacecraft has maneuvered tail to sun. We're standing by for another maneuver to maneuver into the burn attitude. This is where the RL-10 engine of the ICPS is pointed in the correct orientation for the perigee raise maneuver. We did hear confirmation that the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition has been confirmed per the pad, which means it was the predicted time prior to liftoff.
Integrity for GNC, we're taking channel 1 to unfiltered and to BFS.
Okay, Stan, we're watching. Go ahead.
Capcom Stan Love reading up to the crew of Integrity. They will switch the navigation source from channel 1, standing by for confirmation that that switch has occurred. Pilot Victor Glover will receive confirmation when, and as at least watching to confirm that that switch has occurred. Again, the perigee raise maneuver that we're heading towards, not too long from now, we're actually inside 20 minutes at this time from the time of ignition of the perigee raise maneuver. We did have a successful deployment and launched of all 4 solar array wings. This is the configuration needed to commit to the perigee raise maneuver. Of course, flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston will continue to evaluate that everything is good before committing to that burn. The perigee raise maneuver does raise the perigee, the lowest point in the orbit, from 15 to 100 nautical miles. The 100 nautical mile mark is needed to continue in low Earth orbit and hit the target for the apogee raise burn. That will put them in a high Earth orbit for the remainder of the day and set them up for the right position to execute the translunar injection and head to the moon tomorrow. The burn duration of the perigee raise maneuver is 26 seconds. It's a relatively short burn, but it does raise the perigee and do the job to get into the correct position before firing that main engine on the ICPS. The pad had a TGERS handover. This is the tracking and data relay satellites. East to west, they are geosynchronous satellites that are positioned around the globe. And as Orion makes its way around the Earth right now, above the west coast of Africa, at an altitude of about 923 statute miles, and counting. The perigee raise maneuver is not executed at the perigee. It is rather executed on the, actually closer to the apogee. But what it does is it raises the perigee on the other end of the orbit to 100 nautical miles. The 26-second duration burn does not conflict with the time that they've reported of the tracking and data relay satellite handover from TGERS east to west. Again, geosynchronous satellites that are used not only by Integrity today, but the International Space Station as well. That time of handover is 51 minutes, 26 seconds. Plenty of margin before the perigee raise maneuver cutoff happens, and the trajectory is analyzed to see whether it was a good burn. A good burn means that the burn was performed as expected and sets the trajectory on course for that 100 nautical mile perigee target mark. Again, for those sticking with us on NASA Plus and following along on our coverage, we will continue to follow and to cover the mission until, actually, we'll continue to cover the mission 24/7. But we'll wrap up our coverage here shortly. And now that solar array wing deployment has occurred on NASA Plus and Amazon Prime. Again, we will continue coverage 24/7 at the NASA YouTube channel. For those that want to see all of the upcoming milestones, there are select times where we will be coming back to NASA Plus and other streaming platforms. You can go to nasa.gov to find the latest on when to find those activities. Given that this is an operational mission, we do want to make sure that we are maintaining transparency in the mission and providing you all the information on what's happening in space as Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen head on their mission around the moon. Inside Integrity at this time, again, the solar array wings have deployed. The Integrity is maneuvering to its burn attitude ahead of the execution of the perigee raise maneuver. Overseeing these steps is primarily done by Commander Reid Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover. Mission specialist Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen focusing on some of the system activation inside of Orion, namely the environmental and control and life support systems. The activation and checkout of some of these critical systems are very important to continuing on the mission, making sure that those systems are in a good condition and in a reliable condition to provide the necessary environmental and control needs of the crew, with humans on board through the duration of the mission that extends 10 flight days. Standing by for an update to the perigee raise maneuver time of ignition. Should be right up to the crew very shortly.
Integrity Houston, updated PRM numbers when you're ready to copy.
All right, Houston, we are ready to copy.
TIG is 2 seconds earlier at 4 9er minutes, 48 seconds. TGO unchanged at 26 seconds.
49, 48, TGO 26.
This is Mission Control Houston. With that update, we are approaching a little more than 13 minutes from the time of ignition of the perigee raise maneuver. That time, updated to be 2 seconds earlier, was 49 minutes 50 seconds of mission elapsed time. We'll now move to 49 minutes 48 seconds. The duration of the burn, that's what was referred to as the TGO, will still remain at 26 seconds. Relatively short duration burn, again, just raises the perigee of the orbit today. Making sure they hit the mark on that time of ignition is the primary concern of Commander Reid Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover. Mission Specialist Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen inside activating those environmental control and life support systems. At this time, all 4 crew members are wearing the launch and entry suits.
Integrity Houston, for Optimus on the PCD, we have time update instructions when you're ready.
And Houston, Integrity, we copy. Hands are pretty busy at this time. I think we will call you back when we're ready for that.
All right, that one is not urgent. 2 minutes to maneuver to PRM attitude.
We are watching and concurred. 90 seconds-ish, maybe.
Pilot Victor Glover confirming that maneuver less than 2 minutes. Again, that the point of that maneuver is to point the main engine of the ICPS, the RL-10 engine, in the proper orientation to execute that 26-second burn. It needs to point in the correct position to achieve the goal of raising the perigee to 100 nautical miles. You heard some of the environmental control system activations over Orion to Earth. Jeremy Hansen activated the O2 sensors. They'll be measuring the cabin of Orion. During all of the activations, here on the ground in Mission Control Houston, Flight Director Judd Freeling is doing a poll with all flight controllers in the room to see if we are in a go position to go ahead and execute the perigee raise maneuver. Once concluded, Stan Love will report it back up to the crew, and we'll stand by for that.
Integrity Houston, MCC polls go for PRM pending attitude and saws.
Hey, we copy. MCC is go. Maneuver starting.
Minutes of mission elapsed time. The maneuver to the burn attitude has begun. The maneuver also is paired with reorientation of the solar array wings that have been deployed. They will have various positions throughout the duration of the flight. Of course, solar arrays meant to maximize the draw of power from the sun. So when deployed, we're in a biased solar array wing configuration that was called solar normal. This allows for the greatest surface area of the solar array wings to be drawing power and powering up those batteries of integrity, of which a cross-tide was enabled between the 4 batteries, the 4 battery buses that are inside of However, for the perigee raise maneuver, the solar array wings will be put into a position to take on the loads imparted by the ICPS main engine when they execute the 26-second burn. You can see in the animation here, the solar array wings are in motion, and the attitude is being reconfigured to point the engine in the correct direction, those solar array wings being pointed forward. You're getting a live look inside the Artemis II mission flight control room. The team you see here oversaw the ascent of our 4 astronauts inside Integrity, launching at 6:35 and 12 seconds p.m. Eastern Time. Now again, this room will be occupied 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, with flight controllers shifting on 3 shifts to oversee 24/7 operations of Artemis II while in flight. We will cover that live on the NASA YouTube channel, and we'll be covering that around the clock as we begin to wrap up our coverage here on NASA Plus. Before I do want to send it over to our colleagues at the Kennedy Space Center. And to my colleagues, it was a pleasure to join the teams at the Kennedy Space Center and be a part of such a historic launch. Here in Houston, again, we're turning our attention to the mission. And for now, we'll say farewell and thank you to our colleagues there for today's launch coverage. We'll see you again soon for Splashdown. This is Mission Control Houston, sending it back over to Megan and Nicole at the host desk.
Thank you, Gary. And yes, it was such a pleasure to be a part of this historic mission that started right here at Kennedy Space Center. It was such an amazing sight to be a part of. And now, as Reid Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Koch, and Jeremy Hansen begin their journey, we here at the Kennedy Space Center are about to wrap our broadcast. We'll, of course, though, have 24/7 coverage with our colleagues at Johnson Space Center starting as soon as we sign off, so don't worry. You can follow along our 4 astronauts every minute of their nearly 10-day journey to the moon and back. Nicole, I'll definitely be watching it, and I'm sure you will, too.
Yes, of course. You know, they just started, right? The launch was beautiful. This was a historic day. They're on their way back to the moon for the first time in over half a century, but they've got a lot of work ahead of them, and so we're excited to see what they have to do and excited to test out the Orion spacecraft. This is a test flight after all, and we're excited to see what we can learn from this mission.
Very humbling, inspiring. It was really amazing to be a part of this, and I'm so glad that so many people joined along by either watching here in person or watching online. And of course, Nicole, thank you so much for sitting through this, answering questions, adding so much context and information that really brought a lot out of what we saw today.
Oh man, I had a blast. You're a rock star. You're a professional.
Gosh,
this was great.
You're great.
So this was a wonderful day.
Well, again, thank you so much, and thank you to you for watching at home. You know, tonight we didn't just launch a rocket, we launched the next chapter of human exploration. Our Artemis II crew now on their way back to the moon, and we're taking you with us. So thank you again for watching, and go Artemis II. All 4 astronauts, and it appears all of them are undergoing their suit leak checks. Yes, a pre-flight tradition that we have seen with our crewed flights, the card game. The astronauts who have just left crew suit up and are now walking down a hallway. And here they are, NASA's Artemis II crew, taking their first steps outside for their historic test flight. And the 4 of them step into their astrovan. And off they go. Oh, this must feel so special to the crew to see all of these people here. Watching the crew walk across the crew access arm, getting a beautiful view. Everybody configured with their suits, so in we go. The closeout crew has closed the launch abort system hatch.
3, 2, 1, booster ignition, and liftoff. The crew of Artemis II now bound for the moon. Humanity's next great voyage begins.
Oh. All right, this is Mission Control Houston. Welcome back for our 24/7 coverage of the Artemis II mission. At this time, we are a little more than 1 minute from the time of ignition of the perigee raise maneuver. At this time, the Orion spacecraft integrity has been maneuvered into the burn attitude, is pointed in the right direction, and the solar arrays are in the position to take on the loads imparted by the 26-second burn. Now at 1 minute to the perigee raise maneuver. The teams here are part of the ascent team of the Artemis II mission. Now getting our first views from one of the solar array wing cameras over the tracking and data relay satellites. We are in a night pass as we are about a little more than 1,300 statute miles above the Earth, just east off the coast of Madagascar. So we have, you can see the Terminator line right just west of the Philippines and the west coast of Australia, where we'll start to get some sunlight again. Now we're just seconds away from the time of ignition. We have ignition. You can see the perigee raise maneuver from the main engine of the ICPS firing from the solar array wing. Standing by for confirmation of cutoff.
Integrity, good PRM, and 1 minute to Teeter's handover.
Copy that. We see the Sable on board, and the sun is rising on integrity.
Outstanding.
And with that, the first burn of the interim cryogenic propulsion system has been completed and put the crew on the right trajectory to get them to the moon.
Houston,
There are
integrity for toilet setup, step 2.5.
Go ahead.
Yes, there was not an installed oxon inlet filter, even with empty oxone in the hose when I opened up the filter.
This is Mission Control Houston. Again, we had a good perigee raise maneuver that sets us on course to execute the next major burn, the apogee raise burn. Now, the perigee raise maneuver just adjusts the orbit while we are in low Earth orbit, but the apogee raise burn is quite a significant burn, just shy of 18 minutes long.
Integrity Houston, on Tidris West, White Sands is receiving data. Houston is not. We're still troubleshooting.
That was Capcom Stan Love, part of the Ascent team here in Mission Control Houston. We changed over to point to one of the tracking and data relay satellites at the expected time. That time was updated to 51 minutes, 26 seconds of mission elapsed time, going from Tidris East to Tidris West. Upon switching to Tidris West, Mission Control Houston, not seeing some of the data coming from Orion, coming from Integrity. So we're standing by to regain the ability and troubleshoot some of the rationale as to why we are having some intermittent gaps in our data and communications with the crew. Now again, as the teams are troubleshooting.
Integrity Houston in the blind. We see good solar normal maneuver. ARB TIG is expected to be 45 seconds earlier than the pad. That's 1 hour, 46 minutes, 0 9 seconds. No update to TIGO yet.
That was Capcom Stan Love here in Mission Control Houston. He used the term "in the blind." That refers to as part of the data that we are not getting from the TDRS West satellite, noting that we understand that we may not be receiving communications from the crew, though they may be able to hear us. So Stan Love reporting what status is known on our end. We do know that from the data we are receiving that the upper stage and Integrity have maneuvered to solar normal, meaning that the orientation, the attitude of the spacecraft is such that the solar rays can draw the maximum amount of power.
Integrity Houston in the blind for Christina. Just before the TDRS handover, we heard your report about the lack of an oxone inlet filter. We copy that there is not one installed as expected, but please put in a new one.
Team here you see in this row at the Capcom console is NASA astronaut Stan Love. The voice that you're hearing from the teams here in Mission Control Houston up to the crew of Integrity. A Capcom voice that you'll hear throughout the mission as well. Next to Dr. Love, to his right is Jackie Mahaffey, the Chief Training Officer for the Artemis II crew, and a voice that you'll hear from here in Mission Control Houston. Flight Director Judd Freeling is to Stan Love's left. The ascent flight director and leading the teams through the ascent that happened today. And to the left of Judd Freeling is Flight Director Rick Henfling, part of the entry teams here on console to oversee the ascent portion. He'll be returning to console on flight day 9 to prepare for the splashdown on a nominal timeline for flight day 10.
Houston in the blind. We're rebooting some ground equipment to try to recover the link. Expect 10 minutes.
This is Mission Control Houston. Again, the teams here are troubleshooting the lack of a forward link, an ability to communicate with the crew aboard Orion. Teams are troubleshooting and planning to reset some ground equipment as the forward link was dropped at the time that we switched from TDRS East to TDRS West. That happened, that handover period started at mission elapsed time of 51 minutes, 26 seconds. Capcom Stan Love reporting some updates, what is called in the blind, meaning that though we...
Integrity Houston in the blind, expecting an imminent automated swap to string 2 on board. Also, reminder, we are still receiving good ICPS data.
Again, Capcom Stan Love reporting to the crew in the blind, meaning there may be an ability for the crew to hear the calls from the ground. We do know that we are not able to hear any of the crew calls coming from Orion. We did just confirm that we are receiving data from the upper stage, and that allows us to understand and confirm the attitude and orientation of both spacecraft, knowing that they are at solar normal. And with the reboot, we're starting to get some data here. We'll confirm that the data we are receiving is good. And with the regain of comm, we're starting to get some views aboard the Orion spacecraft.
Integrity Houston, voice check on Tidris.
Loud and clear, Stan Halas.
And we now have you the same. Good to hear your voice.
And good to hear yours as well.
All right, we are still trying to understand whether the automated swap to S-band string 2 recovered comm for us or what was going on the ground. We gave you calls about an ARB TIG and an oxone inlet filter. Did you copy them?
Copied all.
Excellent.
This is Mission Control Houston, though the solutions that were applied to regain the communications from Integrity is not known which one worked. We do know that we are receiving data. We're getting confirmation that is updating some of our telemetry that shows that the solar array wings have been reconfigured to the solar normal. Again, drawing as much power as possible. While Integrity is in flight and awaiting the next burn, the apogee raise burn. And you just heard confirmed, though Stan Love was reporting something. We could not hear the crew respond to any of the calls that were going on Orion to Earth. We did confirm from Reid Wiseman aboard Integrity that they did hear all of the calls that Capcom Stan Love was reporting.
And Integrity for comm, while we are sorting out the earlier comm loss, we plan to remain on S-band string 2.
Copy S-band string 2, and quid 19 has been inhibited for right CCD.
Copy quid 19.
This is Mission Control Houston. Commander Reid Wiseman working through his steps. At this time in the timeline, mission specialists Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen should be closing out some of the procedures that were activating some of the environmental control and life support systems. And again, those steps relayed from Capcom Stan Love were received by the crew, so they did copy them and address any of the feedback that was provided by Capcom Stan Love. The launch and entry suits for Mission Specialist 1 and 2, that's Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen, per the timeline, they are in the period of time to doff or take off the suits. The launch and entry suits for Commander Reid Wiseman and pilot Victor Glover will remain on until after a successful apogee raise burn. Their role is to oversee the successful burn there. In the meantime, they're configuring some of their equipment and configuration that's needed ahead of the day's activities, starting with covering a CCD, cursor control device. And they're well on their way to a nominal timeline, of course, addressing the communication link by resetting some ground equipment and changing the string of communications, which addressed the issue, and now we're getting full data from the ICPS as well as the Orion spacecraft.
Integrity Houston, questions for Jeremy and for Christina.
Stan, can you power on the toilet, and then we'll stand by for your words for Jeremy and Christina.
Toilet power up is in work. The questions are, can you confirm the HHP cam has been powered down? And then the question for Christina is whether the urine filter, that's the rubber part, was installed, but just no beads connected.
And that's affirmative. The filter was installed, no beads.
Thank you.
And Stan, we are wrapping up PWD right now. Jeremy will get the HHB cameras after that. There was a tremendous amount of back pressure on all those settings, so it's taken a little bit of all the connectors, so it's taken a little bit of time.
Copy. Thank you.
Commander Reid Wiseman aware of the steps, the initial steps for mission specialists Christina Koch and Jeremy Hansen, working on some of the systems inside, while the commander and pilot monitor the flight of Integrity.
Integrity Houston, toilet is powered, waste tank purged.
We copy that, Stan. Thank you.
Some of the equipment inside needs to be activated by flight controllers here in Mission Control Houston. The activation of some of these necessary for their trip on their first day in orbit as part of the Artemis II mission. While Christina Koch addressed the waste systems that are on board now that they're activated and purged. Jeremy Hansen working on the potable water dispenser, rather. One of his initial steps is to activate the equipment and start filling some bags as a reserve. So he's working through those steps. The HHP camera is one of the internal cameras inside of Integrity. HHP camera was one that was captured through the duration of ascent and recorded into the flight computers.
Go ahead.
Yeah, doubt it helps you at all, Stan. But that whole time that you all had, it seemed like you had a good forward link. We just had no return. We saw a good frame lock, and everything looked good. The only thing we did not have was a good ping. I don't know if that helps you.
That helps a lot, Reid. Thank you for that report. Terry Houston for saws. We saw the saw 3 brake go into error position. We're confident it engaged, but we saw more motion than we expected during the burn. We are cycling the brake on that saw.
Okay, Stan, we copy that. HHP cameras are off, pup 1 switches are off, Stan.
Copy HHP and pup, thank you. Terry Houston, starting thermal roll.
Houston, integrity on toilet, step 6.7.
Go ahead for step 6.7.
Yes, during 6.7, about 20 seconds after starting the water into the funnel, after a nominal startup, the toilet shut down on its own, and I have a blinking amber fault light.
Copy, talking about it. And integrity for toilet, we're going to have to think about that for a while. In the meantime, CCUs are available in Alpha 2.
We copy, and I'll be returning the funnel to the cradle.
Good config.
This is Mission Control Houston, a readback of some of the communications that occurred on Orion to Earth. We're now at 1 hour, 17 minutes of mission elapsed time. We got confirmation that the upper stage and Integrity began a thermal roll. They are on the illuminated side of the Earth right now at an altitude of just a little more than 1,000 statute miles. The thermal roll allows for even distribution of heating from the sun at that altitude. Distributes it a little more evenly ahead of the apogee rays burn. In the meantime, Mission Specialist Christina Koch working on the activation of some environmental control life support systems and waste management systems. Currently, as teams on the ground analyze some troubleshooting of the activation steps that she was going through, she'll gather some of the backup waste management capabilities that they have aboard Integrity, just as a precaution while the teams assess how to address what was reported down from Mission Specialist Christina Koch on the fault light. Now at mission elapsed time of 1 hour, 18 minutes, we are coming up on the post-launch press conference at the Kennedy Space Center, where subject matter experts have gathered to and will address the launch that just occurred, and media will ask some questions. As part of our continuous coverage plan, where we are streaming this mission 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, throughout the duration of the Artemis II mission, the briefings themselves will also be streamed on this platform. The time of the beginning of the press briefing is scheduled to be 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Time today. So coming up in just about 6 minutes. While the post-launch press conference is
Integrity thermal roll complete, and a question for Christina for toilet.
All right, Stan, just give us a minute, and the view of Australia was epic just now. It's amazing to be at this altitude, and Christina's working hard.
Roger. And Integrity, we also have a story about a water tank valve problem during powered flight. We saw an anomalous indication on the water ISO valve between water tanks Bravo and Charlie. Based on the signature we saw with the tanks during the PWD checkout, we think that valve is closed. We are going to troubleshoot that going forward.
Quick recap, the thermal roll is complete, distributing.
Dan, when you got Equus.N2H2O up, give me a call.
I'm looking at it.
Tab stop 17, we show that valve closed, if that helps you.
That is also what we see, and that's exactly the valve we're looking at. Related to that, question for Jeremy. For the PWD checkout, did you check out the primary first or the secondary first?
And Stan, Jeremy says primary first because he had trouble getting the secondary on, and I'm also ready to take your call.
Copy primary first. We appreciate that. Christina, for the toilet, can you please tell us what the status LED is doing? Or was doing when you saw the fault?
It had been on per normal, and there was good suction, and then it turned off when the fault started blinking.
That's valuable information. Thank you.
Teams on the ground continuing to troubleshoot the waste management systems aboard Integrity. Now we'll continue to follow the mission here as the 4 astronauts work on the steps to activate some of the systems and prepare for the apogee raise burn. About 3 minutes from now, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll start the press briefing. That press briefing will happen on our 24/7 live coverage. While that is happening, you can listen to the Orion to Earth loops and continue to cover the mission and views from the solar array wing cameras aboard Orion. And you can follow that at our clean live stream, also available at NASA's YouTube channel. This is Mission Control Houston, passing 1 hour and 23 minutes of mission elapsed time into the Artemis II mission. The Integrity crew, about 800 statute miles over the Earth, currently passing over Australia. Commander Reid Wiseman confirmed that pass over Australia, they were able to peek out the windows and see that view from an altitude that is higher than any of them are used to. Jeremy.
Integrity Houston for GNC, we are taking channel 1 to unfiltered and BFS. Also for the solar array indication we saw earlier, we think that when the brake originally set, it was like on a tooth, and that when the engine lit for PRM, it slipped one tooth. That brake is now showing nominally.
Okay, Stan, we copy that. And I'm just curious, I feel like about a half an hour ago you took 1 to unfiltered and BFS. Is this nominal or did something happen?
Victor, this is nominal.
Okay, thanks. Copy.
Now 7 p.m. Central Time at a mission elapsed time of 1 hour 25 minutes. An update for viewers. We are continuing to cover the Artemis II mission and see live views from the solar array wings. The press conference scheduled for 7 p.m. The current start time for that press conference is 7:05 p.m. Central Time, 8:05 p.m. Eastern Time. During the conference, we are expected to execute the apogee raise burn. We're a little more than 20 minutes from the time of ignition of that burn. We do know that the time of ignition has been updated from the pad. This is the predicted time of ignition and trajectory that was uploaded to the crew prior to liftoff. The current time of ignition is 1 hour 46 minutes and 9 seconds of mission elapsed time. The duration of the burn at the pad was 17 minutes 52 seconds. Ahead of the execution of the burn, any changes in that duration will be reported to the crew and uploaded to ensure that the apogee raise burn goes as expected and puts them on the predicted trajectory. That trajectory being 43,730 miles by 0 statute mile orbit. This high Earth orbit will take the crew of Integrity past the tracking and data relay satellites that are positioned about 23,000 miles away from the Earth. Again, they're currently on TDRS West. And they will transition to the Deep Space Network. The apogee raise burn time of ignition again at 1 hour 46 minutes and 9 seconds of mission elapsed time. That is expected and will occur during the post-launch press briefing. So as part of our 24/7 coverage, the briefing itself will overlap with that particular milestone. To follow along on our 24/7 coverage, we won't necessarily stop our coverage. The clean Orion to Earth loops will be available on our clean feed that will show a view similar to what you're seeing now. This is a view from the solar array wings, and you'll also hear the communications between Capcom's Stan Love here and the crew aboard Integrity, and you can listen as they confirm the execution of the burn and any changes of the burn. When we come back from the press conference, expected about around 8:05 p.m. Central Time, 9:05 p.m. Eastern, we'll go ahead and recap any of the milestones that occurred while we transitioned to the press briefing to answer the questions that come from the press, and continue along on our 24/7 coverage.
Houston Integrity for CFC install. That is complete.
Copy CFC, thank you.
And Houston, just want to let you know, since we're running a touch behind timeline, we have not yet started suit doff for any of the forward crew members. We'll get to it in a bit.
Copy, thank you. Integrity Houston, updated ARB numbers when you're ready.